I have had my Ultrahuman ring for over 6 months, and here is the update. Let's start with the physical. How is it holding up? The material's great. It's not perfectly shiny. It's been through some wear and tear, right? I've been wearing it every single day for over 6 months, but I would say it's in good condition and it has held up, and I wear it through pretty much everything I do. It is comfortable. It is lightweight. It is not bulky. I'm very, very used to wearing it. These are all like the number one question I get is just, is it comfortable? The inside of it has a sensor, but it's not a large bump. It doesn't dig into my finger. It really honestly is not annoying to wear at all. For the most accurate reading, you do want the sensor to be at the bottom where, you know, your palm is. And sometimes I'll adjust it to make sure it's sitting there, but it doesn't move around a lot through what I do. And I'm very happy with the size I got. I do wear it on my index finger. You can switch if you'd like between your index, your middle, and your ring finger. Those are the 3 recommended fingers for the most accurate reading. Over time, I definitely got a little bit of an indent on my ring finger just from wearing it so much, but I'm honestly not surprised. You can see it better on this side because I also do have self-tanner on, so obviously there's a clear line. But I really just think it is comfortable. There's not one part of me that gets annoyed to wear it. Matter of fact, I think it's cute. When I do wear it out, oftentimes I'll stack it with a different ring, and then I think it makes it look cuter. Otherwise, I love that it just looks like normal jewelry. I wear my normal jewelry out and I dress it up, and it doesn't look like this crazy tech gear that, you know, just doesn't go with my outfit or my jewelry. So in that sense, I love how it looks too. Because I do wear it to work out, I put a silicone sleeve over it to protect it. And I do take it off during some exercises if it's bothering me, but I would say for like 90–95% of the exercises I do, I will keep it on. My fingers do swell when it gets hot out or when I'm working out, and contract when it's cold, but I find that I don't have an issue with that because I was able to get a good size, which before you buy the ring, you do use a sizing kit, wear a plastic sizer for 24 hours to make sure you have the good size before you submit your size and get the real deal, but it's really held up great. I sleep with it on, I wear it in some water. I really do everything with it, and it's held up great. How's the battery life? So I will say the more you use it, the faster it does drain, right? Like if I'm logging my workouts, I'm very active, I'm checking my stats, I'm using the smart alarm, I'm using the caffeine. You know, if you use it more, it's gonna drain quicker, right? However, I will say from the time I've had it till now, the battery life still is awesome. Lasts a few days. When I first got it, I think it lasted a full 5. Right now, it definitely still lasts a few days. And you know, if you go on a weekend trip, you don't have to bring the charger if you don't want. However, they did come out with a wireless charger, so that would be an easy solution. But my method, which I would recommend you do, is I don't like to shower with it just because, you know, when I'm washing my face and my hair, I don't want to wear anything. It's not because the ring can't handle it, it's because I can't handle it. But so I keep the charger on my bathroom counter so that every time I take a shower, I just put my ring on the charger, or when I'm doing skincare, whatever. And so that is enough to keep the ring sustained. I never worry about it dying because I just charge it little bits every day, and it's a perfect system for me. Cannot recommend that enough. Battery life, still great, still optimal. It's not trash after having it for 6 months. How is the accuracy? So I did a comparison test with the Oura ring, and I found my Ultrahuman ring to actually be more accurate. And how do I feel about it now? Well, there's some things that I'm not gonna know how accurate it is, right? Like, for example, my total calorie burn throughout the day. I don't necessarily know if that's super, super accurate because how am I supposed to measure that? Like, I don't just think, oh, I burned 2,000 calories today. No, like I don't know that, right? And so I think it's probably accurate because I believe in the rest of the stats. So for example, my steps. I think the step counter is really accurate. If I compare it to my iPhone, it seems pretty accurate. With Oura, I felt like it over-predicted my steps a ton. And so comparing those two, it was really awesome to see because I knew when I was wearing my Oura ring, I'm like, man, 10,000 steps just seems way too easy. But then switching, I'm like, okay, this seems more realistic. I don't have an Apple Watch to compare it to, unfortunately, because I don't like to wear a watch, which is part of the reason I have the smart ring, right? I just really like to wear the ring. It's much more convenient and I think it's cuter. But I do like that it offers so many different types of statistics, and almost for that reason, I feel like it's gotta be a bit more accurate. Also, if you didn't know, the fingers allow a better reading compared to the wrist. They do give a more accurate reading. So for that reason too, I just trust the device. If I had an Apple Watch, I'd do a wear test for you. I did a wear test with the Oura, and Ultrahuman came out on top. Spoiler alert. I actually ended up getting rid of my Oura ring, but the sleep sleep always happens to align with how I feel. I just feel very in tune with what the analytics are telling me before I even look at them. For the workout side of it, however, so you can go in and log your activity, which is typically what I do. I weightlift 4 times a week, so when I finish my weightlifting, I'll go in, add the activity, traditional strength training, I'll put the time started, the time stopped, and I'll just log it. They do have an active, where you can go in and hit start workout and it tries to track your workout. However, that's still in the beta mode and I don't know how accurate it is for that reason, but I will say I don't use my ring to track my workouts. I don't rely on the data of the energy expenditure and the calorie burn and all of that from the ring. I treat this more of a wellness device, a health tracker. And so yes, I log my workouts, and when I go on a walk, for example, it does pick that up and I'll add that to my activity. But I feel like if you want something specifically to track all of your fitness and your workouts, the ring isn't necessarily the number one choice. I think you could find a watch or something like that that more is aligned with fitness. The ring, in my opinion, is more of a wellness device, health tracker, and for that reason, yes, I log my workouts, but I'm not super into the workout statistics. So that, I guess, is a disclaimer, and also maybe helps if you want to purchase this or not, depending on what you want to use it for, because each device is probably going to be beneficial for each type of person or what your main priorities are, etc. I do find the sleep stats to be really awesome. Of course, it gives you the different durations of the different phases of sleep, for example, REM sleep, deep sleep, etc. But it also tells you the cycles that you've completed and the tosses and turns. There is so much sleep data, which blows my mind, and I really love it, especially because I don't think it's uncomfortable to sleep in, and that is something that I really focus on because I know it's an area I neglect. So I love the sleep measurements. And something super, super awesome, like I said, it tracks your cycles. There's a smart alarm feature that you can use right within the app for free and everything, of course. Pretty much everything in the app is free, but I use this every single day. You can use their smart alarm and set an alarm to wake you up either when you complete your sleep cycles, when you complete a certain duration, when you hit a certain sleep score, or when you pay off your sleep debt, which is so cool because you set a time range that you want to be up. Say you want to wake up 7 a.m. at the latest. Okay, you set that as the latest time, and then there's a range and your alarm will go off depending on when you want it to wake you up at the best time in that range. I think this is the coolest thing because not only do they have, a gentle wake up, nice soothing alarm sound that doesn't send you into a panic when it goes off in the morning, but also I've never heard of something like this. And it's just so cool that you can have it wake you up when you're in a lighter phase of your sleep and you're not just being abruptly woken up when you're in a super, super deep sleep. It makes it so much easier to get up, get out of bed. For that reason, I love it. I think it's the coolest thing and I've never heard of something like this before. Another feature I love that directly relates to women's health is they do have a whole cycle tracking feature. When I use the Oura ring, you could pair it with natural cycles, but that's a whole separate app, a whole separate subscription, etc. The Ultrahuman ring has cycle tracking right within it. This is something that really, really helped convince me to fully make the switch because again, I started out with the Oura ring. This isn't a direct comparison video, but I feel like these references kind of help you put things in perspective. So it gives you what phase you're in, it gives you the length of the phases, of course, and it uses your temperature, your HR variability, your resting heart rate, etc. And it predicts, when you're gonna get your period, when you're gonna ovulate, all of that. And it's so cool because it's a free feature right within the app. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to download another app. You don't even take your temperature. And of course, the more you use it, the more it's gonna get to know you and the more accurate it's gonna be. I feel like a cycle tracker can't ever be 100% accurate, right? Because it doesn't know inside your body if you're actually ovulating, but it uses its best measurements and tools to predict that. And that is so awesome. Not only if you're trying to use it as a method to aid in birth control, or maybe you are trying to conceive. And for that reason, they also have a pregnancy feature, which I haven't used because I'm not pregnant nor trying to have a baby right now, but I think it's really cool. Let's talk finances. Of course, this is a really important aspect of the ring. Right now on the Ultrahuman website, the Ring Air retails for $349. It's also available on Amazon. They do have sales sometimes, for example, Black Friday, or they just had an Amazon spring sale. I do have a discount code. This video is not sponsored, but I'll have my discount code in the description box for 10% off if you want to take advantage of that. The sales don't come around often, but when they do happen, usually my code will stack or my code will increase, for example, for Black Friday. So just keeping that in mind. But every finish, every color, every shade is the same price. This is unlike the Oura ring. For the Oura ring, depending on which color you want, there may be a price increase. So for example, the Ultrahuman ring has raw titanium, aster black, matte gray, bionic gold, and space silver. I have the bionic gold. They are all the same price. With your purchase, you do get a free sizing kit to make sure you have the right size. I would recommend, because I got a different size in the Oura ring versus the Ultrahuman ring, so I would definitely use a sizing kit because it's not necessarily universal. And make sure to wear it for 24 hours. Wear it in your sleep, wear it when your fingers are swelling, contracting, etc. It comes with a free charger. However, you can upgrade to a wireless for $45. They do have a trade-in feature, which is cool. So if you already have a different smart ring and you want to trade it in, you can then get a discount on the Ultrahuman ring. You can add engraving if you want and personalize it for $39. And then they do have a cardio adaptability feature for heart monitoring. I don't use this. I don't have any experience with it, but it's one of their paid options. You can also get a coverage plan. This is just if you lose it, it breaks, whatever. Within the coverage plan, which I've actually gotten questions about this before, if you lose weight, for example, and you end up needing a smaller size ring, and you have the coverage plan, you can change sizes. I think that's a pretty cool feature because people have asked me like, hey, I want to get the smart ring, but I'm trying to lose weight. So like, what if my finger shrinks? They've thought of that. Go on their website, check it out. There is no monthly subscription. The Oura ring is about $6 per month for comparison, which I just think is so silly, like paying per month just to access your data. I just don't even get me started, which I did. I purchased Oura ring and I was paying for the monthly subscription and then I eventually switched. But there are so many features within the app that you can enable that are not paid. They're completely free to use. For example, the cycle tracking and ovulation, vitamin D exposure, screen time, circadian alignment, caffeine window, pregnancy insights, the smart alarm, social jet lag. Those are all extra features in addition to, you know, your steps, your cardio health, your sleep tracking, all of that are free. Again, the only things that are paid are the cardio adaptability and the AFib detection. And then they do have a glucose monitor subscription that you can use. So you buy the sensor, you put it on your arm, and then you pay for that. So those are the extra features that are paid, but so much of it is free. Pretty much everything is free. When I got my Oura ring, I got silver because I just wasn't willing to upgrade the price a couple $100 to get gold. But when I got the Ultrahuman ring, I was like, I want gold. I wear gold jewelry and same price. A win is a win. A couple extra fun things about the app. You can connect with other people that own the ring. They're called zones. It's similar to, I know an Apple Watch does this. I don't remember what it's called, but you can like link up with other people's data. That's super cool. You can set specific smart goals that you want to hit. So steps, active minutes, going to bed at this time, waking up at this time, sleep duration, workout minutes, etc., which is super fun. Personalize it and see how many goals you complete throughout the day. I love that it gives you your VO2 max. I think that's so interesting. And there's extra resources within the app. There's meditation features, workouts, things to help you sleep at night, podcast episodes, music. Like there's just a lot of different features on here, which is super awesome. It's crazy how much one singular app has. And the layout is super easy to navigate. On your home screen, I have some of the power plugs at the top, like giving me my stats. For example, you can see how much sun exposure I've had. I'm okay to be using my blue light on my screen right now. I'm in my follicular phase, etc. And then of course, right away, your activity, your stress, caffeine window, my sleep from last night, my recovery, a ton more as you keep scrolling, my heart rate, all of that, my goals, and then all of my activity timeline is at the bottom. I will say, so this is just kind of the dashboard. Every single thing, if you click on it, it's gonna give you more details, right? Click on my activity. I can click on any of these things and go way more into depth. Same with my stress, right? It has so much more when you click on it. My sleep, of course, there's so much sleep data that it gives you. So the app is super easy to use. There's really no barrier there. They do have a chat feature if you're having problems with your ring. I have used this several times and they do respond really quick. I've had to unpair and like turn off my phone, repair it, whatever, and it has worked. Because every now and then, of course, there's gonna be a connection issue here, there, whatever. I have heard of someone getting their ring replaced for free because there was some issue and it just wasn't working. So that's nice to hear. I feel like their customer service has been pretty awesome. Also, some people have asked about the shipping time, saying that they think it takes really long. My mom actually bought her ring last month and she got the sizing kit within a few days. And then after she wore her ring size and submitted her size, she received her actual ring within 5 business days. So just to put it in perspective, my mom bought one literally last month and that was her timeline. We're in the US, by the way. A big question I see is, okay, how does it actually influence your daily life? Does it actually help your healthy habits? Like, what do you actually use on a day-to-day basis? Which I think is so valid, because if you get this, if you invest your couple $100s into a product, you want it to be worth it on a daily basis, right? I am super, super big on steps and sleep at the moment. I'm always looking to decrease my body fat, and those are really two big things that help. You know, the more you move, the more calories you burn, and that's simply how you're gonna burn fat. That's the science and math to it, right? So I am constantly looking at how much I move, not in an obsessive way. For me, it's more so I'm going through my life, I do my daily exercise, I walk my dog, whatever, but okay, do I want to use my walking pad right now while I get some work done? Am I okay to sit for a bit? Like, it just kind of aids in what I do throughout the day because I want to be moving more. And the thing is, the more I move, typically the better I feel, not only in my body, but my brain. Walking is so good for your brain, your creativity, your attention span. It really just helps. And so looking at that, being like, okay, Morgan, maybe you should go walk a few more steps, or, you know, I didn't sleep well last night. Like, I'm gonna take this one out and I'm just gonna rest. It is helpful to reference that. Another thing that I use every single day is the smart alarm that I've mentioned. I'm doing this challenge for myself right now, and I'm trying to sleep a minimum of 7 hours every single night because, like I said, I struggle with sleep, which I always think is ridiculous because I don't have kids waking me up at night. I don't report to a job at 9 a.m. every day. So it's like, Morgan, why don't you just sleep? I make it so hard for myself for no good reason, but using this smart alarm is ensuring me that, okay, I'm not gonna stay up all night and sleep the day away because I have a maximum time that I want it to wake me up, but I want to hit a certain duration. And so it'll go off after completing that duration, which is super awesome. I use that every single day. Also, the cycle tracking, I love. I use that every single day. I want to know when I'm ovulating. I want to know when I'm in my luteal phase because I feel different according to my cycle. I'm not on any form of birth control. And so it's just reassuring to look and be like, okay, I'm really craving this right now and I'm really feeling this way. Does it have to do with my hormones? It takes so much pressure off of me mentally. I'm just way less hard on myself when I'm like, oh, my body's doing this to me. It's not my fault necessarily. I would say those are the main 3 things I use it for: steps, sleep, and cycle tracking. But there's just so much more to offer. It does notify you different things throughout the day, which is really awesome. You know, it'll tell me when to taper off caffeine. It'll tell me when to get sunlight or maybe put my shades down because my body needs to start relaxing and actually calm down for bedtime soon. It'll give you different alerts throughout the day, which is really awesome. Of course, if you haven't moved, it tells you to get up and go move. So I love those notifications. Am I addicted to it and obsessed with it? No. Part of the reason I don't have an Apple Watch is because I didn't want something with an interface. I didn't want to be able to look at it and see all of the data right away. I think depending on your relationship with things, having that screen right so close to you can contribute to maybe a little bit of an unhealthy addiction to the numbers and, you know, closing your rings and this and that. And I had an Apple Watch a few years ago. I'm not totally shaming the Apple Watch, but for me personally, I love that there's no interface. And of course, if I want to look at my analytics, it's just a few clicks away. It's just going on the app, right? But I think for that reason, it really helps me not be obsessed with the numbers, but rather use this as a tool to aid in my daily life. And I love it. Is there anything I wish it had that it doesn't have? I mean, I guess it'd be nice when they finish creating the workout mode feature. Again, I haven't used that. It's in the beta form. It's not my top priority of the app in the ring, but that would be pretty cool. However, I do feel like there's so much within one app. I mean, the biggest thing for me is extra things for women's health, and they have that. And I will say from the time that I got my ring back in August till now, there are so many new features that they have released and that they are working on. And so I do feel like they're constantly updating things, constantly improving things, trying to make things better. And I really appreciate that. And it just gives me so much faith in the brand, the company, the product, etc. And they've just really earned my trust through a lot of those things. Now, do I think you absolutely need it? No, I'm not gonna tell you that you need this. Like, it's not like if you don't have it, you're gonna be a lazy bum forever. No. But do I think it's an incredible tool? Of course. I think it's so worth the money in the long run too. Again, no subscription needed, no upgrade for the different shade, and the amount of things that it has within just one app for one product is pretty crazy. I do think it's worth the price, but I'm never gonna tell you that you absolutely need it, right? I can give you 10% off, and I'm so lucky and happy that I do have a discount code from them and that I can offer you that to at least help, because, you know, nobody just wants to throw an extra $350 at something. But I mean, I do personally think it's worth it. I love it. I wear it every day. If I didn't have it and I had to go purchase it right now, would I? Yes, I absolutely would. It is a luxury of a device, right? It's not a complete necessity, but is it worth it? I would say it's worth it. I wanted to include a little section at the end comparing it specifically to the Oura ring. So that's what I'm starting now. If this would be helpful for you, keep watching. So like I said, I had the Oura ring first. I purchased it in March of last year. I got my Ultrahuman ring in August of last year. I wore both and did a wear test, and I ended up getting rid of my Oura ring in about November of last year. I gave it to my mom. I didn't just throw it away, but then she actually ended up also switching. But here were my findings after I did a complete comparison, wearing both at once, but also just having both rings for 6+ months. Here are my thoughts. So I had the Oura ring Gen 3. Up to date now, their Gen 4 is out, so I can only speak on their Generation 3. The Oura Gen 3 was thicker. The sensors in the ring were also raised higher, so it was more uncomfortable and more bulky and heavier. Again, the Gen 4 might be improved, but I will say the physical exterior, it just was a lot more to handle day to day, which is definitely a con, especially wearing it to work out. It got in the way more than my Ultrahuman ring. Because the Ultrahuman ring is more sleek, I did think it was cuter to wear with other jewelry as well. What I have to give to Oura though is I do think the material was a little bit sturdier, so I think it could handle a little bit more compared to the Ultrahuman ring. Again, mine's held up great, but I think the outer material of Oura was just a bit sturdier and could handle more impact really. The Oura ring was so bad at overcalculating my steps, and other people have reported this too. It wasn't just me, but I did a comparison with my phone, which I don't know how accurate your phone can be, but your phone and your health app has your steps if you're constantly wearing it. And I did it with the Ultrahuman ring. Oura, it's just crazy how high my steps were, like nearly double. And that is very misleading for someone that wants to keep an eye on their steps and make sure they're moving their body a lot throughout the day. Ultrahuman had more sleep data. I don't think Oura has had many updates since then. I can't be positive because I don't use it anymore. However, I have a good friend that uses an Oura ring and she says there hasn't been many updates. Both rings generally do have a lot of the same data, even if they're called different things. Both are gonna measure a lot of the same things, which is awesome, right? The battery life and the chargers were pretty much the same as well. No big difference there. For the financial aspect, of course, Ultrahuman is way more bang for your buck. Right now, you can buy the 4th generation of Oura starting at $349, which is the same price as Ultrahuman. However, depending on the color that you want, the Oura ring can get as expensive as $499, which is wild. You can buy the Generation 3, which is what I had, for cheaper because the 4 is out. However, I mean, in my opinion, if I was buying a ring, I'd get the newest version. I don't know. I don't think it's really worth it to buy the old one anymore, to be completely honest. But you can get the old one for as cheap as $199. Again, the price does increase depending on the finish. The Oura ring does have the $6 monthly subscription. The Ultrahuman has no subscription. And the Oura ring does pair with Natural Cycles, the app, which is really awesome for cycle tracking and all of that. But again, it's another app and another subscription. However, I think some people can get it covered through their insurance. So that's pretty cool. But it is another app on your phone, which to me is a con because of the amount of storage I'm always running out of on my iPhone. I swear, no matter what I do, I never have storage. You can pay for the Oura ring membership for 1 year total, or you can pay for it monthly. There's no wireless charger from what I'm seeing. Not that that's like a deal breaker in my opinion, but the Ultrahuman does have a wireless charger if you care about that. Again, the size is different from brand to brand, so no matter what you're buying, make sure you use a sizing kit first. Both of them have a free sizing kit. Super easy to use, super easy to submit your size and get your ring shipped. I had no issue with either brand submitting my size or the time that the ring was shipped and delivered to me, etc. Both were super smooth, easy, and amazing with that. To be honest, I did like the layout of the Oura ring app a little bit better. They had different tabs that seemed really convenient, but I've gotten used to the Ultrahuman ring, so I don't dislike it. They're both really easy to use, but first having the Oura ring, I kind of just liked the look of it a little better. The Ultrahuman ring had more sleep data when I was comparing both. For example, the Oura ring didn't have sleep cycles, at least when I had it a few months ago. And something I would always say to my friends when talking about the comparison or the Ultrahuman app or whatever is that I did feel like the Ultrahuman is always coming out with new features and releasing new things and having so much in the works. And from Oura, I didn't really see that. I had Oura for about 8 months and they did make a major app update, but they didn't release new features during the time I had it. Again, it has been 4 or 5 months since I got rid of it, so maybe they have by now. And the Oura ring was founded first before the Ultrahuman ring, but I just felt like they weren't, I don't know, working on new things. And I feel like with a health tracker and wellness app, like there's just so much that you can do with it that I felt like Ultrahuman is really trying to fulfill it more. I don't know. That's just my vibe. Again, maybe some of this information could be a little bit outdated as it's been 4 or 5 months since I got rid of my Oura ring, but that was my opinions, my findings after having both. I did 30 days where I wore both at the same time. However, I had 8 months experience with Oura and I have about 7 months experience with the Ultrahuman ring. So at the end of the day, I really do love my Ultrahuman ring. I do think it's worth it. I do recommend it. And I almost wish I had more bad to say so that I could give you some like harsh opinions, but this is all my experience that I've had with it. I've had some disconnection issues, but I've had those resolved. I've had great experience with customer service. I did have someone comment and say that they've had to get theirs replaced twice, so that does suck, but I'm happy that customer service is working with them for that, and maybe their first version was a dud, or like who knows what's happening, right? Like no matter what company, there's always going to be some flaws somewhere. And I'm sure it's the same way for the Oura ring or any other brand and product or whatever. So please comment any questions. I hope this was easy to understand, clear, and helpful. But that's my 6-month update. Again, I do have a 10% off discount code I can offer you. I have one for their site and I have one for Amazon as well. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you in my next one.